Hey y'all, today is day 6 and the dandruff is a little bit worse than yesterday, but I feel like the jump between like these past 2 days, like day 4 and 5 or like 4 to 6 is like pretty big. There's pretty consistent flaking now in the middle part. The itching has become a little more severe. I found myself scratching kind of deeper than usual, and with most of the scratching now, I'm getting like real dandruff. So yeah, I guess at this point it's normal dandruff. This is usually what I'm working with pretty early on after wash day. And yeah, so this isn't any worse than usual, but once again, we're doing this, mainly doing comparisons to the last 2 months span I've been experiencing. So to still be this clean on day 6 is great, but yeah, I think day 6 now we're at the normal threshold of dandruff level, like the low level of dandruff. So I did my best to keep the flakes intact because, like I mentioned, I think it was day 4 or yesterday, I had started to notice like the real flaking here in the main part, but by the time I got to the video at the end of the day, like the flakes weren't there anymore. You couldn't see them because obviously as the day is going on, I'm like scratching and brushing them away because I don't want them visible. And so by the time I get to the end of the day, it doesn't look as bad as it was before. So today I did my best to keep the flakes intact. I did scratch, but I didn't do too much like looking and, you know, brushing away. And I did my best to scratch kind of mildly, keeping the video in mind. So I'm not going to take my hair down today because I think this is the most important and the biggest change. As you can tell from the videos, like the side parts or the parts aren't really progressing dandruff wise. It's mainly like this main part, and then there's like itching, right? So we'll see about whether the parts progress. As I mentioned, even in like, I think it was the original video, like right before I washed my hair, there seems to be a phenomenon which I literally hadn't really noticed on the conscious level. I guess I knew somewhat subconsciously, but it didn't really arise to my conscious awareness until I said it for the video. But the parts, not the main one, right? The one that's how it's exposed. Like the parts that are between my twists that are typically hidden, they don't tend to get as flaky as the area under the twist. So if I notice changes, and maybe of course, you know, I'll still try to show regularly because I'm not really seeing these areas. So it's hard for me to tell like, oh yes, there's been a change without looking at it. But yeah, I don't think it's so important to continue recording like the parts so regularly because they don't seem to be changing very quickly. But still, once again, because this is my first public experiment, it's best for me to keep track of as much data as possible. So we'll see. I'm just telling you my thoughts as I'm having them. Like there's no rhyme or rhythm, there's no plan to really what I'm doing. So yeah, this is not a guarantee or a promise, just what I'm thinking. So we'll go with that line of thinking from now on and see what happens. But yeah, I just mainly wanted to show you that the main part is flaky now. I think right before I turn on the camera, I could see some flaking here in the back. I don't know if it's visible on the camera, but this area, there's like flakes. And then obviously in this front part, I hope you can see it, but I saw some flaking here before I started filming. And I think today, so I mentioned the scratching now is usually leading to like real gunk under my fingernails, like brown, real dandruff flakes, the kind I get normally when I say that I have dandruff, like the full-blown kind. So that's happening most areas. I think also it started happening in the front. I think I scratched here a few times today, the part that gets really bad, and it was like, it was going. So yeah, I guess day 6, we are progressing as expected into dandruff land. And so yeah, we'll see how quickly it continues to get worse. But right now we're still at a very good, mild level, a level where I'm not having, you know, any huge issues. It's not so flaky. There's no scabbing. There's no smell. Thank Jesus. Praise Jesus. There's no smell. Another thing I think may be related to the smell that had started like a month or so ago is, so mind you, once again, I'm just telling you guys all my thoughts are raw. I don't know anything. I have not like found any proof. I have not, like, no proof of concept, no scientific research. I haven't consulted a professional about any of this, but I had read somewhere at some point that the oily dandruff is yellow. Where did I hear this? I don't know. Anyways, this is something I learned recently, because obviously if I had heard that before, I would have concluded that I don't have oily dandruff, because my dandruff is brown. As you can see, it's like brown and white, but it's not yellow. And in the past, obviously my dandruff, my hair didn't smell, my dandruff didn't have a smell with it, as I mentioned, so I never would have thought, like, if I had read in the past, like, oily dandruff is yellow and smelly, then I would have just assumed from the get-go that I don't have that. But this recent change in dandruff seems to be fitting some of that. So I didn't mention yesterday, because obviously this is like stream of consciousness as a series, but yeah, I had learned that recently, and in the past 2 months with the worsening dandruff, the smell, all that stuff, it wasn't every area on my scalp, but there was an area where I would scratch and it would be a little yellow. And so I guess maybe the change in dandruff that's happened for me is, so it could be a change to oily dandruff. Like, not everywhere, obviously, but there's like a patch, or maybe some patches, that now, instead of all the dandruff on my scalp being like due to dry dandruff, which once again, I don't know, that's why we're testing with the salicylic acid. I am not sure. But if that really is the case, if it's really that easy to distinguish between dry dandruff and oily dandruff, then it would be that in the past, all of my dandruff was the dry dandruff type. And then in the past 2 months, for some reason, I've developed areas of oily dandruff. And so that would explain why, I mean, once again, it's only day 6, way too early, but that would explain why the smell is gone. Obviously nothing is yellow right now. I've mentioned that the flaking I've seen so far is just brown mainly. But yeah, that was also a change I had noticed with in the past 2 months that I forgot to mention. So yeah, I could have a combination of all the things happening. And so once again, I still think the only thing I can think of why that change would have happened is the change in microflora as the like actual origin source for the change. But I don't know, do people develop oily dandruff like just spontaneously? I don't think that change genetically happens just on the fly. Is it a genetic change? I'm doubtful. It's probably very likely an environmental change, in which case, yeah, infection would definitely lead to that. But also, you know, the weather here, the climate is humid. A whole lot of things could be happening. So that is my update for day 6 for today. Thoughts I was having, new insights. They're not insights, just thoughts, hypotheses, and trying to connect all the bajillion dots in a way that might make sense. But yeah, hopefully you could see it. I'm sorry if you couldn't, but when I look in the mirror, there is flaking in this area. Let's see if maybe oh yeah, I'm seeing flakes fall down as I'm doing this, so I'm gonna believe that it's showing up on the camera. Yeah, we're getting flakes falling down. Let's check this side. Yeah, that's the situation. As a whole, we're still relatively clean on the scalp, which honestly makes me feel so good. As I mentioned, this current progression, so starting to flake on day like 4, 5, 6, and only having this minimal amount of flaking is such a huge improvement from what I've been seeing. So even though we're finally seeing dandruff, and I told you flakes are falling down and like, you know, dandruff is happening, I still feel relatively good like about the situation of my hair. I feel great. There's no smell. It's not bad. The itching isn't crazy. I'm not bleeding or like scabbing. It's still a very low level. Like I feel great. Great about finishing the week like this. Oh, we get to apply the salicylic acid tomorrow. How exciting. It's about to be day 7. Didn't even remember that. So actually we're doing fantastic. There's not even so much dandruff, and I'm going to apply the product again. So, and that should just, you know, put us in an even better position. So I'm excited. Wow, we're doing great. Actually, hadn't even realized that. Perspective is so helpful, you guys. So yeah, it's working. It's definitely working. I feel fabulous. I feel like I can go the second week and not feel like I'm getting dirty, not have to worry about the smelling, not have to worry about hiding my dandruff, all this stuff. Like I feel quite confident that my hair is going to be in a good state for the whole 2 weeks. So, wow, that's great. Okay, that's all for today. I will see you guys again tomorrow for update day number 7. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Mata ne. Bye.